So I want to begin talking about the Navy offense, and it's really interesting. So we're just going to kind of just do an overview of both sides of the ball, what they do, who to look out for, and when I get into the keys to the game, I'll get into sort of a how to stop the triple option conversation. From my experience, having played against the triple option, having coached in 2 seasons in the triple option offense, having played sort of an option offense my last year in college. Have a unique outlook on it. And of course, I've coached on teams where we had to defend the triple option. Probably the second, first or second biggest win of my career was a playoff game against a triple option team. So have a lot of experience with it. And I think there are certain principles that go into beating the option week after, year after year. It doesn't really matter the alterations and changes that they make. But when you first look at this Navy team and this specific Navy team, I think the reason this team has struggled so much, and when you look at the numbers, I mean, they're not a good team. I mean, it's as simple as that. And the big reason why is their offense. Their offense has really struggled this season. Their defense isn't very good either, if we're being honest. But the big problem for this team has been their offense. They don't move the ball. They don't score. They've been pretty decent at controlling the clock, but their offense is just not it's not good. And the biggest thing is they've been really bad at throwing the football this year. And I'm just going to kind of go over some of their rankings this season and just kind of give into some context of how much this offense is struggling. So, first of all, when you look at it from a total point of view, they're averaging 18.1 points per game, and they're averaging 283 total yards per game and 4.1 yards per play. They rank 121st nationally in scoring, 126th in total offense, 129th, tied for last in yards per play. They rank 96th in red zone offense. They rank 125th in touchdown percentage, and they rank 109th in third down offense, which normally Navy's pretty good there. Their rushing offense, they're only rushing for 224 yards per game. Now, for most teams, that's a pretty good day, but when you look at what Navy has done in recent years, it's really bad. Now, it's an improvement over what they did last year when they were just awful. Navy went 3-7 last year. But you look at the last time Navy was good, 2019, they rushed for 360 and a half yards per game. The year before that, they were at 276.5. Not a great Navy team. The year before that, 351.4. The year before that, 310.1. Year before that, 326.7. You're getting the point. So 224 is not a great number. They've had 3 games where they rushed for over 300 yards. They went for 337 in the opener against Marshall, a 49-7 loss. And then they went for 348 against UCF, a win. And they went for 302 against Tulsa, a win. They were held under 200 yards by every other opponent other than Houston, who gave up 202. They were 36 against Air Force, 177 against SMU, 198 against Memphis in a loss, and 192 against Cincinnati. And the yards per attempt numbers were really bad. Their last 3 losses against SMU, Memphis, and Cincinnati, they averaged 3.3, 3.1, and 2.9 yards per rushing attempt. You get into why. I think Navy's got a tough, scrappy offensive line. It's not a real big group. It's not a vintage Navy offensive line, but it's a good offensive line. It's a very short offensive line. Navy in the past has gotten a lot bigger, especially at tackle, and I think that's helped their offense. They are 6'2", 282, 6'2", 269, 6'2", 318, 6'2", 280, and 6'1", 280 across the board. Much smaller group, but what it allows them to do is they play really low. They come off the line really low. They play with very good pad level, and they play hard. They're just not as talented as some of the teams that they've had in the past. So I think that is kind of something that's hurt them. But the primary reason that they're not as good as they've been in the past is their quarterback is not anywhere close to the quarterbacks they've had. This is still a triple option is still very much a quarterback-driven offense. It starts with the quarterback, then it goes to the fullback, then the offensive line, then it's the slots and the receivers. Those guys are sort of plug and play. And I don't know if I've ever said, boy, that triple option team's not good because they don't have really good slot backs. I mean, your slot backs are basically making plays because of your scheme and because teams are so focused on stopping your quarterback and your fullback. And that's really a big key to this. And they just don't have the playmakers at quarterback. I mean, when you look at their starting quarterback, I was looking at his numbers the other day. It's really like I was shocked at where his numbers are. Their starting quarterback is only averaging 85.8 yards per game. Now that's not rushing yards per game. That's total yards per game. He's played in 6 games, and if you kind of take 85.8 and project that over 13 games, that's barely 1,000 yards of total offense. When you consider that Malcolm Perry a couple years ago had over 2,000 rushing yards just by himself, it's not good. So that's really been a big problem for Navy in their last really just for them all season, and that's what makes this as not a really dangerous Navy team. A dangerous Navy team is last. I mean, this is what his rushing numbers have been this year. He went for 1.1 against Marshall. This is the quarterback. 2.7 against UCF, 2.2 against Southern Miss, SMU, 1.7 against Memphis, 1.1 against Cincinnati, and then 3.6 in the win over Tulsa that they just had. And Tulsa's not good. Tulsa also lost to UC Davis this season, which is a one double A team. So it, again, we can talk about Navy's dangerous and all those type of things. This is just not a good Navy football team. It's not. This is not a good Navy football team, and this is a team that Notre Dame needs to be able to beat convincingly because they just don't have the offense that they've had in recent seasons. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. Now, they are a team because of the offense that they play that you have to be disciplined against, and you can't make the mistakes that allow them to creep back in the ball game. And when you look at the games they've played this year, the competitive games they've played, a lot of times it's mistakes that lead them to being in the game. And Cincinnati had drop passes, penalties, not being disciplined on defense and just giving up a big reverse play. The quarterback forcing balls into coverage at the 3-yard line. That was more about Cincinnati not handling what Navy does well than it was about Navy being an improved team. When you look at the SMU game, they played SMU tough. Well, a big part of that was because the quarterback's scrambling around. He's got the ball hanging down here. He gets hit. Ball goes out. Diego, I'm not going to say his last name because I don't want to get flagged by YouTube. But really good linebacker, one of the best linebackers they've had in a long time. But he picks it up and runs it back, 50, 60 yards for a touchdown. You avoid those types of plays, and all of a sudden you're being successful. So Navy's going to try to do some things that you know give you problems because they know they don't have the talent. But this is just not a normal Navy team, and it's a team that Notre Dame should handle easily. And the offense is a big part of that. Let's talk about